I'm here. I'm back. Okay. I'm like that white stepfather you never wanted. I'm ready to put in effort now. Okay. I know I've been an absentee this past little while, but you know what? I've been talking to your mom, and I'm going to try and make this to work. Baseball games, post-fight recaps, choir practice. I'll be there for it all. So we are the Leg Kick Podcast. I'm the most important. What?
I gotta say, you are looking very stepfatherly today with that lighting and the Christmas tree in the background. I would accept you as my stepdad.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll buy you presents once a year and then neglect my fatherly responsibilities.
Yeah, no, sounds like every white man I know.
I'm not going to say anything, but that's usually a stereotype about a different race. So, we're the Leg Kick Podcast. I'm your most important host, Stefano, Dog of War Hosko, here with my Tia Maria and Coke. Why? Why would I be drinking Tia Maria and Coke, you might ask? Because it's Christmas and the end of year, and we're here to celebrate an amazing year of fights. I'm here with Michael Asiffo. Michael, always on African time, Asiffo. He's not always there when you call, but he's always on African time. And we've got David over here looking like Charles Crazy Horse Bennett. I don't know if he's going to say the N-word with a hard R at the end and then challenge Wanderlei Silva to a fight, but that's, those are the kind of antics you can expect for this show. So, boys, let's raise our glasses to what's been a great and chaotic year of fights.
Oh, I didn't bring a glass. Okay.
Mike's a teetotaler, but to the gods of war and combat, we salute you. Thank you.
Mike isn't a teetotaler. Mike is straight edge.
That's another word for teetotaler or lame.
No. Teetotaler means you don't drink. Straight edge means you take pleasure and you find like the hard side, like hardcore. You don't drink. So I think Mike would definitely.
That sounds like something a repressed homosexual would say.
Hey, tomatoes, hey.
It's straight edge, bro. I don't need drugs or alcohol because they bring out hidden emotions that I've been feeling. Really,
for sure. Mike is definitely the kind
here
of
at the Leg Kick, let me just disclaimer. Here at the Leg Kick, there is nothing wrong with homosexuality.
Oh no, we love.
Oh no, we love gays. We just want them to be open about it, Mike. So. Anyways, we're here to talk about the great year that was in combat sports. But first, we got a little bit of news to get into, I suppose. News. I got a few. I don't know what you guys have been doing in my absence, but number one big piece of news: Anthony Pettis leaves the UFC.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, been a long time coming. I like this. I mean, it's sad to see him go, but onto greener pastures, on to make that Bellator money. Join Sergio Pettis off in Bellator, and honestly,
well, he's going to PFL. So
is he? Did he sign with PFL? Is that a thing?
He signed with PFL.
Oh snap! Okay, good for him.
They took a picture together. They're at the desk. Anthony Pettis is doing one of these. He's looking at the camera, and so it's PFL.
Oh well,
PFL making moves.
No.
They've got Rory and they've got Pettis. I don't know what weight class he'll fight at, but it seems like thick and juicy Pettis might be at 170. So a couple of names there in the tournament for PFL. This could be interesting.
Well, I wonder, though, how much of it is because Dana White's antitrust lawsuit wasn't dismissed in court, so he's trying to just panic, let go of everybody. So he's like, look, we don't have a monopoly on competition. Anthony Pettis signed with the PFL.
That would be the worst legal that would be the worst defense ever.
No, but my point is that it's not just him. It's Silva, Romero,
maybe
Rumble.
This is part of the cuts that Dana White was talking about. When he was like, oh yeah, we have to cut like 60 fighters. Yeah,
as far as the UFC goes, I don't think this is exactly the worst cut to make. Because I as much as Anthony Pettis' aspirations are still strong, and we got to respect the man for his past accomplishments, I don't see him making it into the title picture in any of the 3 weight classes he's competed in the past. And as a result, I would like to see him take a step down in competition and still be able to put money in the bank.
Yeah. He's going to make a lot of money at PFL, right? Especially if he does end up winning the whole thing. That's a lot of money there. So yeah.
Fight announcement number 2. I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but The fight, the Leg Kick podcast might as well be called the Where in the World is Santiago Ponzinibbio podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some news. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Li Jianli the Leech. That'll be in Abu Dhabi, January 16th. Interesting enough matchup, I suppose. Any thoughts on this, boys?
Santiago Ponzinibbio, he before he left was on the fast track to a title shot. So I know he's had some health issues, but if he's 100%, the welterweight division, which is already stacked, just got that much stacked-ter, if that's a word. But yeah,
more stacked maybe. Yeah, so that's interesting. Good to see him getting back into the mix. And then we have Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny in a matchup of very interesting grapplers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the big one though. Chandler versus Hooker.
Oh, Chandler versus Hooker. I thought you were going to say something else that I have coming up, but Chandler versus Hooker. This is a fun one. I think this is an interesting move on the UFC's part, because Dan Hooker, not necessarily the biggest name, kind of on the cusp of the top 5, has some interesting skills. Very, Mike's not his biggest fan, but excellent jab, excellent low leg kick, and calf kick, and this is going to be a good test to see where Michael Chandler sits in terms of the top. Give me a second.
Yeah, quality podcast here from the Leg Kick. You never know when producer Boom is going to be jumping in. Tell me, what do you think about the matchup?
Well, Stefano said I'm not Hooker's biggest fan. It's not that I'm not Hooker's biggest fan. I think he's a fun fight. I like him as a fighter. I just think that he's got to tighten up the screws on the defense. There's been 3 straight matches where he's allowed better than 55% or more.
You love that statistic.
Yeah, what? Wait, we're doing statistics now?
That's Mike's favorite statistic of all time. Listen, it's Michael Chandler we're talking about.
Strikes matter.
Michael, they matter. Mind you, I don't think Michael Chandler is going to be the kind of person to test necessarily Dan Hooker's striking defense on the feet. Mm-hmm. I think, the blueprint for what Chandler is pretty clear. He's the wrestler with the big right hand, classic archetype, and I think he's going to be looking to grind out a win over Dan Hooker. More likely. I don't think his striking skills are necessarily as sophisticated as, let's say, a Dan Hooker, but, I'm interested to see what he has on the feet.
Whoa, this is a lot of analysis, guys.
That's true.
Who have you got?
I probably have Hooker. I'm leaning Hooker, but I'm interested to see how Chandler.
Yeah, I'd probably go Hooker, too, just because of the stand-up. Although, we've never seen Chandler tested, at least at the UFC level, so I guess maybe that's what the UFC is trying to do. Just see where he lines up with the rest of the division.
Also, go on, Mike.
I was gonna just say we do get to test how good Dan Hooker's takedown defense is. I mean, he's never really faced a guy who will go there often. He's faced wrestlers, but he's faced kind of converted mixed martial artist wrestlers where they don't always go to the ground. So the one thing about Chandler is he's going to pressure you, and he's going to look for the takedown, and he's going to pair it with his right hand. So, it's going to be interesting to see, can he fend off a wrestler who's going to wrestle for 15 minutes, right?
And we'll have more analysis on that one as we get closer to the date. There's one more announcement. I don't know if this is a troll job. I don't know if this is serious, but one big matchup that I recently was brought to my attention. Michael Asiffo versus me. Now, I don't know if this is a joke. This is putting Jake Paul up against an alligator. But, Mike, good luck. We'll see if you can get past the first 15 seconds. No, in all seriousness, I heard a rumor about Jake Paul and Michael Bisping being announced.
I heard it was Bisping, not Bisping. I heard it was Askren versus Paul.
I heard that too, but then I just saw...
I think it was Askren who is rumored to have signed the deal to fight.
Michael Bisping. This is Mike Bisping and Jake Paul are in negotiations for a boxing match right now.
Okay, I just want to preface by saying that Michael Bisping would murder Jake Paul. Michael Bisping can come off of like a day, like literally a binge drinking fest for the week, and I'd have him knocking Jake Paul out in the first round.
Yeah. I don't know what to say other than, do we need to talk about this? Do we need to take this seriously?
No, we do need to talk about this, because why are so many fighters coming out to fight these guys? At what point? No, I get it. No, it's a quick. It's like,
David's onto something.
Quick money or whatever. But at what point do we call people out for kind of, I don't know, clout chasing is what the kids call it these days?
Or at what point do we call the UFC out for not compensating fighters fairly, where they have to chase these matchups with the Paul brothers?
Oh man, I know. Yes. But also, let's not pretend like mixed martial arts isn't like a code of like of honor and a code of like seriousness. The whole arguments against Jake Paul and the Paul brothers, well, Jake Paul and the Paul brother, and the other Paul brother, is that they're not real, they're not serious.
Ron and Rand Paul?
Anytime soon. Remember Ron Paul 2012? Remember?
Triple threat. Oh my God.
I'd like to forget.
Anyway, no, I'm getting distracted. I'm trying to think of like who would be a good like triple threat matchup for the Paul brothers.
Are they only two brothers?
Pardon?
Are they only two
brothers?
Yeah, I guess Rand Paul will jump in. Anyway, no, my point is...
Rand Paul, he's not related to them, right?
I know he's not, but he might as well be.
Yeah, you want someone who could actually test the Paul brothers, a good fight matchup for them? Let's go Mark and Donnie Wahlberg against the Paul brothers, if we're going celebrity matchups.
Man, those guys are like in their 50s, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll make it fair. They're tough, scrappy guys from Boston versus a couple of stars.
Are they tough and scrappy because they're from Boston, or are they tough, scrappy guys who are also from Boston?
The second.
Mark
can box his ass off. I mean, Mark, back in the day, there was negotiations supposed to happen between Mark Wahlberg and Ty Domi, the former enforcer for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, for a celebrity, I think you can box. Or, let's see, who else could we do? What other set of brothers? Let's go with brothers to make this interesting.
The Asiffos, man. Let's stick with our original. The Asiffos versus the Pauls.
The Asiffos versus the Pauls. Let's do it.
Look,
Paul brothers, if you're listening, okay.
We have to be real with each other. We have to be real. They're gonna get killed. They're gonna get hurt. Like, why?
I mean, isn't that what we're all counting on?
No.
Wait, hold on, David. Hold up the little puppy for us all to see.
Yes. Just trying to eat some of my goat meat. So back to my original point, which was just like, why are all these UFC fighters trying to get a fight with the Paul brothers? Like, isn't this? I know it's the money, but like, come on, man.
No,
follow the money, David. Follow the money.
As fans, how do we feel? I guess is my question, because we know it's for the money, but as fans, how do we feel? Isn't that also a mockery of the sport?
It absolutely is. Now, if you, do you see like LeBron James trying to, book a celebrity basketball match with the Paul brothers for money? Like, no, you don't see that. Why? Because they're compensated fairly. And that you're forced to do things that are degrading for money when you're hurting for money. If you're being paid adequately.
Jessica Penne making an OnlyFans.
There you go. Exactly. If you're paid adequately for your craft, you're not seeking out celebrity boxing matches with YouTube stars, right? And I think it's as simple as that. Like, you have people from Henry Cejudo to Amanda Nunes, everyone salivating at this opportunity.
I mean, okay, while I would agree with you, do you feel like Michael Bisping has not been adequately compensated for his career?
No, I don't think so. I don't think even Conor McGregor's been adequately compensated. If you look at the revenue that they've brought in for the UFC as opposed to what they've made, even if they've made decent wages, it's not as much as what they've brought in for the UFC. And I think the documents that have come out regarding UFC fighter pay kind of reflect that fighters only making like 18% of total UFC revenue, and several percent of that is actually going towards USADA. So I mean, come on, who are we kidding here?
Michael, what are your thoughts? Because I actually kind of agree with that, but I still hate this one.
I couldn't agree more.
I hate it too.
Like, I couldn't agree more, and I hate it. The whole thing for me is that, like, I think though there's this idea that's going to bring eyes to the mainstream, and therefore the revenue is going to be evenly generated through the UFC. Not evenly, but like the point is that by osmosis, the trickle down effect is going to happen. And I wouldn't say it's dumb because I think maybe in the long term, you know, more eyes, people understand the prestige. If let's say like the worst striker in the UFC, like Ben Askren, were to just kill Jake Paul, like let's say that happens, right? Mm-hmm. Then people understand the prestige of the UFC, and maybe that brings eyes to the sport. I don't know.
Sorry.
Hold on. Here's my question though, because I'm honestly curious. Because let me get out of here. I dodged track play. He brought a little tire to come play with me. Hey, don't be knocking the table. Knocking the table, young man. Here's what because I actually don't know, because you know I'm getting older. I'm still in my 20s, but you know, got another 2.5 years, 3 years at best of that. 4 if we count the time taken from us from coronavirus. I wanted to ask you, because I actually don't know, who are the Paul brothers' target demographic? Who's their fan base?
Young boys.
And is there any, like, are they 14-year-old girls? Are they people that would actually be drawn to combat sports after seeing them in the ring? Or are these people, you know, just turning up the fights to see the Paul brothers? I honestly don't know. And
I think,
I'm honestly asking, are these legitimate people that can be drawn into boxing or MMA?
Well, from doing my research, because I've had to make a couple of videos on I didn't have to, but I made a couple of videos. Their demographic tends to be the 14 to 28 range.
That's a wide ass demographic.
Yeah,
their demographic tends to be 4 months old to 77.
Yeah, they could either be in elementary school or they could be graduating college.
Yeah, Mike, think about that. Yeah, wait, no, he said 28, so they could be like an adult, into their professional career who's been out of the, school system for like 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or they could be like a 14-year-old who just got. Mike, come on, bro.
No, that's the interesting thing, right? When you take a look at their YouTube stats and you actually look, they get anywhere from the teenage girl, TikTok, YouTube fan to the, like, I would say the fraternity guy, who's the frat bro, right? They get anywhere from those guys, right? They're basically a weird mix of Nelk Boys with Charlie D'Amelio, right?
I'd like to see statistics on the IQ of their viewers, average IQ.
Right? I'm not here to diss people.
Plus or minus above 80.
No, but to answer your question, I do think, like, they might get some casuals, especially young people who've never heard of boxing or never heard of MMA before, and they're like, oh, okay, here is somebody I know doing boxing or whatever. And,
they might convert them. It might convert them. But my question, for me, it's just not worth it. Like, it makes a mockery of the sport. Not to be a curmudgeon, but it does make a mockery of the sport. And also the idea that, oh, we need to show and not saying you feel like this, Michael, but the idea that we need to show that the UFC, the worst striker in the UFC, can beat the average Joe. Like, are you kidding me? How many years has the UFC been here? We're still making that argument? Like,
yeah, I think I'm with David on this one.
I'm with you. I'm just saying. I was going to say how ridiculous the argument was before I
agree with you.
Just playing devil's advocate, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like, it's so ridiculous. Like, we know UFC fighters can fight. Like, come on, pay them. Like, that's the next step.
Right. So we've been fairly charitable to these Paul brothers, and
oh my God, yes, the Balls versus the Pauls. Let's do it.
Oh my God, yeah,
all the Balls.
Yes. Yeah. The Ball brothers.
Who are the Ball brothers?
LeVar Ball, LaMelo Ball.
I don't.
Oh,
are they basketball players?
Stefano's not gonna know. That's a basketball joke right there.
Okay. I would like to see. We could do Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady against the Paul brothers. Aren't they cousins?
Yes, actually.
Yes.
They could beat the poo out of the Paul brothers, despite being 78 years old. Okay. Anyways, so what do you think? You want to get into this end of year special now?
Yeah.
No more news? No.
I think we're good on news. Any matchups? Anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Anyone test positive for heroin?
There was a matchup that's going on that's actually going to be Cater versus Holloway is going to be up soon.
Yes, I think we talked about that though. More analysis of that
before. Geez. Okay. No, I think there's more, but I just can't remember right now.
Okay. All right. As we draw to this end of year, we'd like to discuss the year that's passed, the great year in combat sports. So let's start it off with an easy one, as Mike has over here on the list. Fighter of the year. Prestigious award here at the Leg Kick. We don't give this out easily. So don't be expecting no Khamzat Chimaevs on anyone's list over here, okay? This is for real accomplishments only.
Come on.
Now,
It's definitely
let's throw this to David. David, what do you think? Who's your fighter of the year for 2020?
So I'm going to steal the one that was on the Score article I read a couple of days ago. I'm going to go with
plagiarism. I love it.
Yeah, whatever. There's no rules. I am going to go with Deiveson Figueiredo. The article made a great point that, in terms of fight this year, he's had some of the most resounding, with his wins over Benavidez, then his wins over, not Moreno, because that was the most recent one.
Perez.
Or is it? Perez, yeah. Out. Yeah, but honestly...
He didn't even beat Moreno, by the way.
He did beat Moreno in the most recent one, but I was thinking of the one before
that.
No,
he didn't beat Moreno. He drawed him.
He drawed him. He drew him.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He did draw them. But technically, not to be too technical, it was it a split decision or a majority decision?
Yeah, but...
Yeah, no, he got disqualified. He got DQ'd and lost a point.
He didn't get DQ'd. That means he would have lost the match.
Whatever. Penalized, whatever. Look at you with your nomenclature.
Listen, semantics are important, okay? Go on.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Anyway, so I thought, he had a pretty good year. And it goes back to our debate over the past year, Stefano, about the lighter weight divisions. I think, as the article said, he has kind of made the flyweights interesting again. I would really like to watch his next fight. I want to see him go up. I want to see what that looks like. I want to see Henry Cejudo come back and fight Figueiredo again. But
I want to see DJ come back and see how he do.
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah. So yeah, it would be really fun to see all those fights again. And for me, that's why I have Figueiredo as my number one. But I'll put 1B as Adesanya just because, gang represent always. But apart from that, yeah, shouts out to Figueiredo,
man. Stefano. Oh, wait, Stefano. Is he there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you here?
All right. Yeah, cool. Hey, Pussy, you still there? No. Fighter of the year.
I'm going to have to go with Kevin Holland. And now, here's why. Generally, there's a debate over who deserves this award. Should it be a champion? Should it be based on strength of competition? What are our credentials for basing this award? Now, Figueiredo for me was a close consideration. Now, obviously, I can't choose it because David chose Figueiredo. So I have to be a contrarian. So I'm going to choose Kevin Holland because the sheer magnitude of having 5 fights in a year for me, it's very impressive in a stacked division. Now, you can question strength of competition, but who's stronger than, hey, Boomy, he's trying to steal something from the table. Who's stronger competition than Jacare, widely considered to be one of the best fighters ever? And like the great Adesanya says, you almost have forgot. I think 5 fights in a year is an accomplishment. I think knocking out somebody from the bottom with, a half-hearted arm punch is also an accomplishment. And he looks dangerous. He looks like a dangerous man, and I'm excited to see him in 2021. So I'm going to have to go with Kevin Holland.
I always said the biggest thing for me with Kevin Holland was he can beat all these guys who aren't ranked, but the second he faces somebody who was ranked, i.e. Thiago Santos, i.e. Brandon Allen, he struggled. And now he's kind of put that away and he's putting the pieces together. So why not? Let's see it. Now, the takedown defense does look a little sus, but, I still think he's a good fighter.
Mike, who's your pick?
So my pick is Khamzat Chimaev, and I think we'd be silly to not give it to Khamzat Chimaev, to be honest with you.
Why?
Two fights against unranked British opponents who can't wrestle.
Take it easy. I don't know what you're trying to do with the UK, but I don't like it.
Yeah, people in the UK don't know how to wrestle. Get at me.
They can't wrestle.
They can't wrestle.
That sounds straight over
to you. Love, eh? How do I sprawl? What do you mean, sprawl?
What's a sprawl?
You mean pro like the proletariat?
Like a prawn cracker? All right, sorry. That's my British accent, and I actually lived there. That was terrible. Sorry, go on.
Mike, go on. So tell me about your incorrect opinion.
Honorable mention to Brian Kelleher. I honorable mention to Brennan.
Honorable mention to Brian Kelleher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, a lot of those guys deserve it too, but I just think Khamzat Chimaev really captured the imagination of people alike, and he became a star. And realistically, yeah, in terms of strength of schedule, he didn't really do much, but it's like Jorge Masvidal last year, right? It's like, if you really think about it, he beat Darren Till, which is a big win, and he beat Ben Askren, which is a big win, and then he beat Nate Diaz, which was but
by the way, that's still stronger schedule than Khamzat had this year.
Yeah, come on. You can't say Till. Yeah, come on, man.
He's like, oh, yeah, he beat Diaz, which is I'm sorry. Diaz has been fighting ranked fighters for the better part of 10 years. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to compare Nate Diaz to Gerald Meerschaert,
You're not getting that out of me. It's not happening. But what I'm trying to say, though, is in terms of strength of schedule, last year with Jorge Masvidal, there was probably some other guys you could have picked, but it's the capturing of the imagination, right? And I think Khamzat's done that. And I think that when you're talking about fighter of the year, it's not necessarily who's the best, because if we're being honest, it's gonna go to either Stipe or Adesanya, right? But no one picked those guys. It was
because they've only had one fight each.
One fight. Like, what are you talking about? Why would he get fighter of the year?
Adesanya had two, but one of them wasn't, that Romero performance. Adesanya,
you could, because he's coming up a 5-fight year, like the year before.
Yeah.
But Stipe has fought 3 fights in the last 2 years.
I think Adesanya would have been a more justifiable choice than Khamzat, to be honest with you.
All right, fair enough. I think it'd be silly not to give it to Khamzat just based on
filthy
casuals,
Based on his teeth, that's it. His teeth alone.
But my whole thing, but do you guys understand the point I'm trying to make?
No, I get what you mean. I get
what you mean. I get what you mean. The proles and the plebs, they love them a discount Khabib.
For sure, Leon. Hey, Leon, please do us a favor.
He's an underdog right now, eh?
Man, please
get your money, guys.
Get your money on Russian Steve out. Like,
you make 1.4 times your money on did the odds makers have a stroke? I don't understand. You must have forgot that Leon Edwards has been facing top flight competition and lost only to Kamaru Usman. And Khamzat, well regarded as he should be, he's shown some decent skills. Relatively inexperienced. I think the odds makers are disrespecting this man.
Leon, you know what to do. Enough said. If he doesn't get a title shot after this agenda against British fighters started by Stefano, I see it.
There's a plot against the British fighters, me love. It's because they don't have no wrestling. So, next we have Fight of the Year. Interesting. There's been some juicy little scraps this year. So why don't we lead with Mike? Mike, Fight of the Year.
Again, I think it'd be silly not to get Wei Li versus Joanna as Fight of the Year. I think it's absolutely silly. These women, I was about to say the B word, holy shit, but these women went out and had a war. Sometimes too, I always say this, a lot of people remember the Robbie Lawler stare down of Roy McDonald at the end of the fourth, and then for him to break Roy's nose into a million pieces in the fifth. A lot of people remember Colby Covington breaking his jaw. But if you want a storyline, sorry, Kamaru Usman breaking Colby Covington's jaw, my bad. But if you want a storyline for you that I think doesn't get talked about a lot is Wei Li being carried by her trainer in the third and getting a pep talk and coming out in the fourth like a house on fire. Those are the moments that get remembered for 10, 20 years to come. And on top of the fact that it was a great fight and the volume output by Joanna too was insane. And for Joanna to get that hematoma on her head and still fight on, a lot of people said that Joanna was lacked heart prior to this fight. I don't think you'd say that about Joanna after that one. So Yeah, I think this deserves fight of the year, and I don't think it's very close, to be honest.
Wait, how is it not close? I think realistically, there are two fights that are in everybody's mind. This fight and the recent Moreno versus Figueiredo fight.
My bad. You're right. That's in
man, just so absolute with the takes. I get it. Gotta keep them hot. I really don't have much to say. Everybody fought. Wow, yeah, I have no takes other than Weili Zhang and Jędrzejczyk is still and will for a while be the best women's fight that we will see in the UFC. Not too generous. It's going to take a lot to knock that down. I just can't wait to see those women back. But I think the fact that we haven't seen them goes to show just like the brutality of that fight. And also, the Moreno versus Figueiredo fight was pretty good as well. I guess, shouts out to, just off the top of my head, the Holloway versus Volkanovski fights were pretty good as well.
That was chess.
Yeah, weren't both of them this year, or am I imagining that?
No, just one of them. One of them, I believe.
Just one of them?
Is that your wait, just to clarify, is that your pick?
My pick would definitely be Weili Zhang.
That's a great fight. Yeah, it is a great fight.
But I just wanted to do an honorable mention also.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I do think that you could, easily make this fight of the year without question, and I wouldn't have any qualms with it. I just, because this has been such a good year of fights, I wanted to bring attention to two fights that I have as my tie for number one. And honestly, I could be sitting here agreeing with you guys as far as Weili Zhang and Joanna being the fight of the year. And, I'm let's just say I might be in that camp. But there's two fights that for me I want to bring attention to, and I have them as my number one, simply because I think they were so good as well. Now, number one, tied for number one, I'm going to start with Ferguson versus Gaiji. Oh, boy. Now, rough one in the later rounds, should have been stopped early, but man, was this a barn burner and a half. First of all, Gaiji pulling out new skills in the toolbox, showing off his footwork, the ability to fight off the back foot, drawing out Tony Ferguson, cutting angles and punishing him. You have so many great moments in that fight. That uppercut in the at the end of the second round where Tony and Gaiji are both gunslinging, throwing a rear uppercut, and Tony just happens to catch him and nearly takes his head clean off. You have Tony Ferguson showing incredible heart and being able to push through the beating he absorbed in the previous rounds, barely standing on his feet, shaking his head, trying to clear the cobwebs. Yeah, for me, this had everything, and it had two of my favorite fighters, and I was just thoroughly entertained for every second of it. You had Gaethje pulling out all kinds of new tricks, like the footwork, like the low leg kick. You had his classics, like the cross counter and his left hook. Yeah, and Ferguson just relentless throughout the entire thing. So for me, this just showed it showed heart, it showed grit, and it showed a high level of technique. So for me, that would be one of the candidates for fight of the year. What do you guys have to say about that one?
I think it's performance of the year. I don't know about fight of the year.
People tend to forget how competitive the first two rounds were.
Yeah, like it was competitive. I even think the first three rounds were competitive. But I just think that Gaethje, it was more so, what stood out for me was Gaethje's performance and just how good he looked, even when it was competitive, than it was the fight itself, But
I mean, that may be the case, but rewatch it, and I think you'll be amused.
I remember it was a good fight. Didn't pop up into my head when I thought of fight of the year, but I do remember it was a good fight. And I think maybe because Gaethje won, that's why we didn't really consider it. But remember, I think going into that, Ferguson was a pretty clear favorite. So the fact that Gaethje was able to almost erase that memory, I think, speaks to how resounding of a victory it was. But I do remember it being a good fight.
Tied for number one, I'd like to add in, and here's another one I think you guys forgot. And it's another one marred with controversy because it was stopped way too late. But for me, this fight had a lot of things that I like. It had...
You talking about Jan versus Aldo?
Shut up. Let me have my moments.
I do it.
This had one of my favorite fighters of all time in Jose Aldo. pulling out his old bag of tricks and winning rounds against the consensus best fighter in the division. Going back to that low kick, Jose Aldo showing off his beautiful takedown defense, Jan overcoming it with his, trips from the clinch, showing incredible boxing and tenacity. This was a barn burner for me, and honestly, I was surprised because I thought Aldo was a bit of a lamb for the slaughter in this one, and he showed exactly why he used to be one of the consensus best pound-for-pound fighters ever. Excellent counter combinations, left hook to the liver and low kick, thunderous low kicks, takedown defense where, people were considering a fight between him and Khabib for a while because it was so difficult to take Jose Aldo down. But sadly, he also showed some of his big flaws. He bites on feints and swings at everything he sees with 100% force. And in the later rounds, Jan able to tire him out and just lay a beating on him. So the end of it obviously marred with controversy, but for me, this was a technical fight between the old school and new school of, lighter weight fighters in MMA. And it had everything that I was looking for in a fight.
Plus, you know what? I gotta say this. Jan has this innate ability of figuring you out later. Like he just does. And when he figures you out, he's a freight train.
Yeah. I will disagree with that. I did not think that was up for a fight of the year, but who cares what I think?
Who cares what you think, David?
But I just thought Aldo got beat up. Honestly, that's what I remember, but I have to go back. I can't remember it like.
He won rounds. I think he won at least two, maybe one.
I think he won round 3. Actually, you know what? 3, he kind of fell off a little bit.
I understand why you'd feel that way because of how the end was, and that's kind of we all left with a bad taste in our mouth. But I thoroughly.
30 unanswered shots while you're getting back mounted.
Yeah, Jason Herzog, you got one coming.
Maybe referee of the year. We should add that category.
Yeah.
Jason Herzog had a rough year, who's otherwise a great ref, too.
Same with, what's that guy? The Herb Dean. Oh, man.
So, moving on, gentlemen. Moving on. We have, because I can't be here all day, we have KO of the year. Now, I'll lead with this one. No, I won't lead with this one, because I know what you guys are going to say. David, take it away. Tell me about how Joaquin Buckley was KO of the year.
Yeah, great knockouts. From Joaquin Buckley, I don't know what even, but Joaquin Buckley with the crazy knockout, improvised, off one foots, the kind of stuff we all dream of doing in the gym. I think actually a few weeks earlier, I tried the same thing in the gym, and now I realize how irresponsible what that was, because I would have taken that guy's head off had he not been way, way better than me. So
David's the Steven Seagal of MMA. I taught him that technique. I taught Joaquin Buckley that technique. I was there.
And just, but once again, first of all, Impa was coming off a great knockout himself. Buckley was coming off a beating of Holland. So, this just goes to show how good Holland is. But yeah, man, what a crazy knockout. And of course, Buckley followed it up the fight afterwards. But yeah, that's what I would choose. Buckley versus Impa Kansanganai. But that's a pretty obvious one.
Michael.
So I'm actually going to go off the board here. I'm going to pick Otman Azaitar versus Karma Worthy. Otman Azaitar, I really enjoy his boxing style. He's a shorter guy for the division, and he's a powerhouse. So a lot of people kind of think it's him just flailing his arms and looking for a big knockout. But there is a crispness to him when he gets into the pocket. He's got great hand speed in the pocket, and it was on full display against Karma Worthy, who could have also been up for Fighter of the Year had he won that fight against Azaitar. But he lost in a minute 33 because Otman Azaitar, when he puts his hands on you, oh boy, and pop, 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 pop. And
I forgot about this fight completely. This was shocking at the time.
Yeah, man, he put it on Karma, and Karma didn't even know where he was by the end of it. So I gotta say that. But you know what? Honorable mention though to Chaos Williams versus Amin Al Hassan. I know that was my compatriot, my brother, and Abdul Razak Al Hassan getting knocked out and with one punch in 30 seconds. But That was a great knockout too. Like through the guard, straight. I think it was a straight right through the guard. Great knockout, but I just think it didn't have the same sort of impressiveness to it that Otman Azaitar had versus Karma Worthy.
I want to change my pick if I have a chance. By the way,
No,
go on.
No. One of us has to pick Joaquin Buckley, and it won't be me. You may have a second.
I was gonna go Ngannou versus Rosenstruck. I don't know if you guys remember that fight. That knockout. Man, Ngannou hit that guy like he owed him money. Like it was probably one of the most violent knockouts I've seen in a very long time. Like,
that was a stop hitting him, he's already dead kind of knockout.
Yeah, man. Like that was like why am I even here? Like get me out of this ring with this guy. Like he doesn't even deserve to be here right now. So
you know the crazy part about that is those boys just swung. They were like, screw it, we're gonna find out who the man is, and they swung. And
hopefully you don't mean boys in the racist sense of the word.
Yeah, what do you mean boys? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean swung?
What are you, a white cop in the 1940s pulling up, next to somebody's Cadillac? Like, geez. You boys up to any trouble?
What's your KO of the year?
You boys got any heifer in the car? So my KO of the year, and because, David so kindly chose Joaquin Buckley, and, being a contrarian, I just wanted to bring attention to another KO that you guys might have forgot. And this one, thoroughly impressed ya boy, not Eric Anders, but myself. And that KO is Corey Sandhagen versus Marlon Mariah. Now, this is a pick that I got wrong, too. I was high on Marlon Mariah. I'm like, if he puts his stuff together, I honestly suspected that Mariah was going to be able to, Sandhagen was going to move forward, accidentally give up his reach. Mariah was going to be able to counter his jab and his slips with that left high kick and just punish him early. But Sandhagen ended up drawing Mariah into the later rounds and just hit that wheel kick from hell that starched Marlon Mariah. And man, you won't see a more beautiful wheel kick. It just clattered it on the top of the head. Didn't matter, put him down. And Corey Sandhagen with the beautiful knockouts. To close out 2020.
Hey man, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. But I think we have to all be honest. Joaquin Buckley versus Impa Kasanganay.
Yeah, that's KO of the century. That's
okay.
Man. I don't think we can argue that. I just wanted to bring attention to a few other KOs.
Yeah.
But So next we have submission of the year, if I don't.
Out, guys. I'm gonna sit this one out, guys. Submission of the year. I would say we all won. Sorry.
David, please report to the principal's office. What the hell was that, man? Was that a joke?
Sorry, man.
Was that? No, I'm honestly curious. Was that intended to be a joke? Or did?
Yeah. That was like, how did
you just have a brain aneurysm? What was that, David?
I have no idea what that was. Oh man!
All right. Well, I have some good news now. A couple men in a white paneled van will be coming away to put David in a straight jacket and house him in a sponge covered room. Now he'll have 3 meals of chili a day.
Hilarious.
We're gonna get the real Charles Crazy Horse Bennett to be our host. So, Mike, you want to lead us off on sub of the year?
Okay, this one goes into crazy. I remember seeing this and I said, if you get me with this, I retire. I'm done. Like I said it, I was like, I'm done. Jordan Griffin versus TJ Brown. Remember the guillotine and half guard?
Oh yeah.
Right, and I said, I remember looking at that and saying to everybody, you get me with this, I'm done. I'm gonna stop doing MMA. And jiu-jitsu, any kind of martial art forever. Like, not because, and that's not a slight to TJ Brown. It was just so impressive that I didn't think could happen. And the thing is, it wasn't like Green versus Vellante where Vellante did everything wrong. TJ Brown actually had the right defense for it. Goes on the opposite side of his head in half guard, frames, does a Von Flute pass to frame. And, Jordan Griffin just kind of turned inwards towards him, I don't know how to explain it, but he kind of turned counterclockwise towards TJ Brown's body, and as a result, kind of put torque on TJ Brown's neck and put TJ Brown to sleep. It was actually a really good technical sub from guillotine. Right. So yeah.
David, you have anything serious to say? No submission of the year.
No, I was gonna put in Bryce Mitchell's whatever it's called, Twister. Yeah.
Did that happen this year?
No, that was actually last year in December. I was just checking that up, so I do not have an answer for this. I can't remember any noteworthy submissions. Although I bet there were.
I'll give you an easy one. Davison Figueiredo.
Oh yeah.
Wait, okay, which one?
He's talking about Perez versus Figueiredo.
Okay. Oh, wait. That was a pretty good one, actually.
David, didn't you have something to say about submission of the year?
Yeah, now that I think about it, Davison Figueiredo against Alex Perez was really good, man. Yeah, he really submitted that guy. Really stuck his arm in there and choked him out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the kind of expert analysis we expect from this podcast. So, I'm going to have to, again, pick two. Now, you guys know I'm a sucker for leg locks. Everyone knows I'm a sucker for leg locks. So I'm going to start off with Mckenzie Dern's knee bar.
On Hannah Cyphers?
Yeah. Now, say what you will about Hannah Cyphers.
I was about to say, she can't do BJJ.
But man, I like me some single leg X guard in MMA. I do. I think it's an underutilized guard. I think it's very effective for keeping opponents at a distance. And yeah, Mckenzie Dern able to attack by all accounts, a very strong fleeing opponent, cinch up the knee bar, and from belly down, able to finish it. And, I'm also going to go with Chase Hooper's most recent performance against another person with no jiu-jitsu, but that was cool. The standard rule, hold on. Baby, can you take him out? I think he's got to poop. I took him down and he just peed, but he keeps whining, so dog's got to poop. So yeah, I thought this was impressive because the rule in leg locks generally is clear the knee and you're free. Now, his opponent, whose name I don't remember, his knee was well below the knee line, and I'm like, there's no way he's going to get it. First of all, set up from an Imanari roll. And then Chase Hooper starts playing these stupid hammer fists from that position. I'm like, okay, this guy's going to lose this fight, hammer fisting from here. Inches his way upwards towards the butt, manages to pull this guy's leg past the knee line, and then before you know it, he's in an outside heel hook. I thought it was sneaky. I thought it was a creative little trick. And I appreciate leg locks wherever I find them. If it's on Pornhub or it's on UFC Fight Pass, leg locks, cream of the crop.
Stefano would watch that kind of cruel pornography where the poor woman is getting leg locked.
Yeah, I already tapped. Stop.
Yeah, jeez, that's some sick stuff right there.
Remember when we were a Christian podcast?
Yeah, those seems like forever ago.
Remember when Christianity?
Oh God,
was a viable
remember Christianity
lifestyle choice. Okay. So, sub of the year, great submissions for that, especially from David. That was.
By the way, I know it's kind of like the popular pick, but shout out to Khabib's triangle choke on Justin Gaiji.
Oh, yes, actually, that's a good choice.
That was a great Khabib. Yeah. Okay, so next, comeback of the year. Now, I think Mike might have some interesting thoughts on this one.
Oh, you stole mine, but for a different fight, for a different reason.
Wait, is this comeback as in career comeback or comeback within a fight?
No, comeback fight. Chase Hooper versus, now his name is starting to escape me. I had it in my mind. Peter Burnell, I think was his name.
Chase Hooper versus one of the 60 fighters that are going to be released from the UFC. Go on.
Probably. But yeah, no, Chase Hooper was, if people forget, Chase Hooper was losing. He was losing the fight. And Hail Mary leg locks, they're a thing. And, if you can get them on, your legs are slippery in those later rounds, but when you get them on, the adulation, I don't know the word to describe it, but that release you get when you can get a heel hook. Wow. Just, it was really, 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 really cool. So it was really fun. But in terms of career comebacks, if we're going to go that route, then I would say, wow. Okay, let's see. In my mind, I'm thinking.
Think about it. In the meantime, I'd like to throw my lot in for comeback fight of the year. I'm thinking, and I'm struggling to remember the gentleman's name. Who's the guy who absolutely wrecked Razak Al Hassan? Not Chaos, the one before that, the Moroccan gentleman.
Oh, Taha? No, not Taha.
No. Zalal, Yusuf Zalal.
Yeah, Yusuf
Zalal. Wow,
Zalal,
man.
Yeah.
Not enough buzz around that guy. That guy's somebody to watch.
Nice.
So as Razak did in the early rounds, came out and just started blasting Zalal. And I'm like, they were very high on Zalal, talking about how he was the striking coach for Team Nogueira out in the Middle East, and how he's very highly regarded. And, Razak, excellent judoka, very more of a good puncher than a good boxer, but a very good puncher. Just came out and started blasting my man Zalal, and Zalal using a lot of very traditional Muay Thai kind of cover-up defenses that in MMA don't work as well when you don't have those big 16-ounce gloves. So I'm like, damn, my man is getting a lesson in 4-ounce gloves fighting. And then as the round started to go on, Zalal started to use some of these tactics to his advantage, intercepting knees that just slowed Razak Al Hassan right down, intercepting knees to the gut that just, alleviated the pressure. He started hand fighting, hand trapping, turning over into elbows, just a beautiful clinic in the art of 8 limbs. And ended up getting the decision. Also could be a candidate for fight of the year. I thought it was a phenomenal fight and a good display of, how to really keep a pressure fighter at bay, especially a big puncher, and, certain ways how a lot of traditional Muay Thai weapons can work in defense and work in MMA. And I'm excited. I like fighters who are different, so I'm excited to see him in 2021. More buzz around the guy. I think there needs to be more buzz around him.
All right,
yeah,
great.
I don't have a fight comeback of the year, but I do have a fighter, Robert Whitaker. I just took a quick look at his record. Since he lost to Adesanya, he has a win over Dern, which was a great fight, which he won pretty comfortably. And then Jared Cannonier, which once again, decent fight, and he won pretty comfortably. This last year when he lost to, last year when he lost to Adesanya, a lot of people were writing him off saying, is it time to retire? He's been in so many wars.
Hold on a second. People were saying it's time for him to retire?
Because he's been in so many wars with Romero, and he kept breaking down with injuries. And
he himself was talking about, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and he was very mentally fatigued.
Yeah, and he took that break, right, where people made like some kind of story that it was for his daughter needing like a bone marrow transplant, but in reality he was like, man, like I was just running on a dune one morning, and I was like, man, this is enough. Like I needed rest. I need to enjoy life. And he's only like 28 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. And if you look at Romero, Souza, a lot of the guys he fought before fighting Adesanya are gone. And he's kind of the best of the rest now in a pretty stacked division. So, yeah, he would definitely get my vote for Fighter of the Year. And I guess
Comeback Fighter of the Year?
Comeback Fighter of the Year. And I'm pretty excited to see where he goes next. Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry, do you have something you want to throw in?
Sorry?
Mike, did you want to throw something in?
Yeah, okay. Charles Oliveira. Comeback.
Oh, career comeback. How could we forget? Yes.
He was struggling, and this year
could be Fighter of the Year too.
Yeah. If there was a Most Improved award, he would get it, bar none. That win against Tony Ferguson. No one's done that to Tony Ferguson. Like no one. He shutout, complete shutout. You can make it round was a 10-8. So.
And Kevin Lee in the first pandemic fight card of the year.
Oh yeah, and Kevin Lee.
What a performance.
Yeah. Kevin Lee couldn't get out of second gear in that fight.
I forgot that, and that one. Let's not forget that was a hot. Let's not forget that was a hot Kevin Lee too, coming off. Was it like 1 win or 2 wins, if I'm not mistaken?
He came up with a head kick victory over Gregor Gillespie, and Gregor was being hyped up as the guy who you
For
know,
sure. And Kevin Lee was being trained by Faraz Sahabi, so it wasn't as if like a lot of the other excuses that usually play Kevin Lee applied this time. This was a game Kevin Lee, and yeah, man, he came out and shut him down, which was pretty surprising. And what happened to Kevin Lee? Where does he fit into all of this?
I'll tell you where he fits into all this. No, I think he's still training in Montreal in TriStar, unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, and iron sharpens iron. He's there with GSP and Rory and the rest of the guys at TriStar, and hopefully he comes back. But yeah, Charles Oliveira for me, comeback fighter of the year. He looked really good against Kevin Lee. He looked really good against Tony Ferguson, and all the past issues, right? Couldn't handle pressure, suspect takedown defense, gone for the most part. Like, let's say he faces somebody who, like, it could come back. Maybe he faces Michael Chandler, and Michael Chandler figures him out. I don't know. But as of right now, he looks really improved. And the things that made him really, really hard to face, like long reach, really, really good, really good at counterfighting and intercepting pressure fighters now. And he's got a very active guard, which he didn't need to show against Tony Ferguson because he was on top of him the entire time. But a very, very high-level BJJ game. So, really, really good. Let's see. Dave, you want to add anything before we move on to the next topic?
Nothing to add. Shouts out to Charles Oliveira.
I missed.
Didn't miss anything. I think we're moving on to Feel Good Moment of the Year.
Oh, nice. Hey, do you guys want to do Disappointments of the Year?
Sure.
Sure.
As well? Okay, so Feel Good Moments of the Year. This is a good one. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go with after Khabib's father passed, kind of the whole MMA community rallying around him after he got that victory, had that against Gaiji and had that emotional breakdown. After what was a very stressful year for him, the whole community kind of putting aside their differences and rallying around Khabib and just kind of appreciating the transcendence of the moment and how this is undoubtedly one of those moments that, humanizes us all in a sport where, at times it can be very dehumanizing.
I mean, except for John Jones, but everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Well,
for my moment of the year, I'm actually going to choose something that you've already said, Stefano, which is the Gaiji versus Ferguson fight. I just remember being super pumped for Justin Gaethje, man. I really like him. Hold on, let me try that again. I really liked him. I felt like he was an honest guy. I loved his
until you found out he was a Trump supporter.
Yeah, essentially. Like I really liked him until he came out, until he got the title shot basically, and came out on some weird Trump stuff, which is just weird.
I mean, look, it's our community.
I mean, but like he's a social worker who also supports Trump, so you don't believe in anyway, whatever. Yeah, but I like Justin Gaethje, and when he won over Ferguson, I was like, finally, this guy's getting his title shot. It reminds me almost like when Dustin Poirier got that title shot against Khabib as well. I felt like, wow, this guy has really, really deserved it. So yeah, that's who I would choose for feel good moments.
Let's see. So to build off of that, I think Khabib retiring too was a good feel good moment. Anderson Silva was a good feel good moment. But I'll go off the board here and I'll say Devin Clark and his Black Lives Matter salute before his fight against, I want to say Manafield, but I can't remember the opponent. He gets on a knee, fist in the air, and again, in a community that is mostly anti-Black Lives Matter, it was nice. I think it was a really nice gesture. And that's not to say other fighters don't get their dues for doing it. Ben Rothwell's another guy. Aljamain Sterling's another guy. Hakeem Dawodu.
Bobby Green. Bobby Green. Don't forget Bobby Green.
Of course.
Another weird Republican or Trump supporter, if I'm not mistaken.
No, get out of here. Bobby Green?
Am I making that up?
No, he's not a Trump supporter, but he is I think he's pro-police in the like.
Okay, so Trump supporter. All right, get him out of here.
No, but yeah, like a lot of people did support the cause. That's not to say like no one supported the cause in MMA, but look, he trained, huh?
It was few and far in between, and there was a notable silence also.
Yeah, people who really did their part to spread the movement and contribute a positive message to the conversation were far and few between, and those that did in MMA really stood out.
Yeah. But for me to see an open support the cause, like, and again, Sonya did it. It's not like
Tyron Woodley. Shouts out
Tyron Woodley did it. It's not like no one did it, but to see a guy.
I loved how Tyron Woodley did it. Any question asked him? Yeah, I wasn't disappointed because Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I think I got a lot left in the tank because Black Lives Matter. People were mad at him. I'm like, why? This is hilarious. Why? This is the best. He's bringing attention to a good cause. He's trolling for good. Isn't this what we want? He's trolling for good.
If only he won. That would have been so sweet. Shout out Tyron.
I didn't really think I was going to do that because Black Lives Matter.
But yeah, and especially because Devin Clark's not like Adesanya or Sterling or any of these guys. He's an unranked fighter in the lower, in the light heavyweight division. Like, he doesn't really do much, and he could risk his career like that, especially since there is a notable silence. But he didn't. He didn't care. He did his thing. So. Yeah. Maybe
in a Republican-controlled organization like the UFC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know if we said we do disappointments. Have you done your feel-good moment, Stefano?
Yeah, I did. I did the Khabib. I also want to add to honorable mention Jan Blachowicz winning the title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Another guy who absolutely deserved it.
One funny thing, by the way, one of the funnier moments of the year was when Jan Blachowicz was talking some crap to John Jones on Twitter, and he's like, "Come fight with me, John Jones. He's like, I'm going to see you, John Jones. I'm going to fist you." Probably some mistranslation from Polish or something. John Jones is like, "You're a weird guy, Jan. We won't be fisting anybody."
Hey, they don't call him the Polish Hammer for nothing.
No, here's what happened.
I feel bad for his wife, man. Jeez.
Oh, take it easy.
Here's what happened. John Jones tricked him. John Jones is an underrated trash talker because John Jones was like, "I can't wait to pop my Polish cherry" or something like that, right? And they were getting weird with it, and then Jan goes, talking about fisting because they're like, and then Jones goes, "You're a weird guy. We're just talking about fighting, man."
That's I didn't know that. That's funny.
That's pretty funny.
So disappointment of the year.
It has to be Dana White, right? It has to be Dana White.
How so?
Let's see. When the pandemic first broke out, you have this guy trying to push shows without COVID testing. You have him basically spitting in the face of everyone who said, "Hey, this might not be a good idea. Maybe test the fighters a little bit more." Didn't do that. You have him supporting the Donald Trump presidential campaign. That in its own self, because this is a guy who's made it very clear: politics and mixed martial arts, blah blah blah. They don't mix. This is a sport, blah blah blah. But here he is, literally endorsing his friend. And then the fighter pay, that's a constant one, but it's gotten even worse this year. I love.
Listen,
optically, yeah.
I've been a persistent critic of Dana White. You guys know this, but I do think as far as COVID testing, there was that one hiccup with that Oliveira Lee event at the beginning of the year where they sucked. But I got to be honest, I think they put it together fairly well after that with rigorous testing, with safe zones for, and they put on.
I was going to say, they kind of.
I think they stepped up to the plate as far as COVID testing goes. The Trump stuff aside, which, yeah, of course, he supported Donald Trump. Like, let's not normalize that. But, I thought they did pretty good as far as COVID testing went.
I thought, in terms of, the measures they took, they were pretty, forward thinking. I'll give him that. But I do think
he was kind of forced.
First of all, pardon?
He was kind of forced to do it, no?
First of all, he was kind of forced to do it. I mean, there was one event he literally tried to run and wasn't, and had to be called off at the last second by I don't remember who the.
Yeah, Disney.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even remember.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Disney made a few calls. Mickey Mouse was like, I swear to God, Dana, if you ever try to bring down Disney stock again, I'm going to show up at your door with a sawed-off shotgun and blow your tomato brains out the back of your skull.
Hilarious. Mickey might actually be paying Dana a visit soon, too, because towards the end of the year, some of the cards that were pulled together were just, like, come on. Like, they were just, they I don't know, like, he should get sued for, like, negligence or something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad matchmaking. So, yeah, you know what? I think I understand your
point. It's a pandemic, guys. Like, come on.
I know, but, like, has been flying in the face of, like, oh, we can get it done whatever the time. And, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just been a disappointing reminder of who sits at the top of MMA. But go on.
Mikey, disappointment of the year.
You know what? I agree with some caveats with Dana White. So I gotta say, Dana White did disappoint me. Not even because he's of the Trump supporting thing, but it's the fact of the hypocrisy of it. Like, okay, so you go, okay, MMA and politics don't mix, and then you bring you and some of the best fighters you have on your roster to a Trump rally, right? And then you spread misinformation about Joe Biden, the same guy who helped you during his vice presidency popularize MMA towards the youth. People forget.
What did you say about Sleepy Joe Biden?
The whole dementia thing again. And
he said that?
Yeah, he did. He said on Twitter. On Instagram. And on Instagram, when someone said, "Oh, Joe Biden's gonna ruin America," he was like, "Truth." And you know what? I'm not even gonna go there because that might actually just be circumstantial. So yeah. So, you know, it's the hypocrisy of it all, where it's like, oh.
He also shot an ad. I just wanted to add, Dana White shot an ad, like a straight up endorsement video for Donald Trump. It's not even like he was like, oh, go vote for my friend. He literally took time out of his day to shoot like B-roll to endorse Trump. I think that's a step removed. I've never seen that in anything else. That would be like
imagine Gary Bettman coming out and being as the president of the NHL and being like, yeah, we support Donald Trump, or
crazy,
insane.
So yeah, it's just the hypocrisy of it all. Like, it was just so hypocritical. Like, if you're gonna be apolitical, then be it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't. But anyway,
you know what I think the cringiest moment with Dana White and Donald Trump was? It was back in the 2016 election, and he gets up on stage and he's like, Donald Trump, you know, I know a fighter when I see one. I've been the head of the organization for this long and blah, blah, blah. And Donald Trump is a fighter. He's a fighter and he will fight for the American people. I'm like, God, no, he's not a fighter. He's someone, you know, who's had his whole life astroturfed for him for success. Like, he's the opposite of a fighter. Yeah, it was cringe. But anyways, I'm going to go in a different direction because, you know, I agree with you. And as much as I like to rag on Dana White.
He's not my disappointment, though. But anyway,
who's your disappointment, Mike? Go for it.
No, incredibly long take. Okay.
Mike's like, yeah, I'm going to rant on your take, and now I have my own. How much airtime do you think we have, Mike?
Sorry.
This guy over here. Mike, come on, man.
Go ahead.
Selfish chatterbox over here.
No,
so here's take A, take B, take C, take D. Like,
well, in the words of the great Michael Asiffo, literally. So, I'll go before Mike takes up any more airtime or oxygen in the room, and Jeremy in the next room ends up suffocating. Where is that guy, by the way? So, my pick for disappointment of the year is how refereeing in MMA just seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse, and we don't do anything about it. Why? Because, you know, it's MMA and it's normalized. We watch someone take a terrible beating. Jose Aldo's on the floor unconscious after absorbing 30 unanswered strikes from Peter Yan. Well, there's fights next week, so let's forget about it. Massaran Duba starches that British gentleman off the regional scene and is allowed to land 5 unanswered strikes as he's looking at the referee like, come on, let's stop it. Nothing. Tanner Boser is able to body a man and hit his lifeless corpse, you know, as the paramedics are carrying him out of the octagon. No, nothing. No big problem. I could go on and on with these high-profile examples, and I don't know what's going to take. Is someone going to have to die here? Like, what are we going to have to do to wake up and realize that we have a problem with refereeing in MMA? We need some kind of a solution, maybe another ref outside the cage. maybe more specific criteria. Don't shake your head, David. These guys, this is how annoying this problem is. And I'm sorry, man, I got to call you out on this. This is the problem. This is the problem with MMA fans today. They'll propose any solution, and they'll just be like, no, won't work. Why? We haven't tried it. No, just won't work. I don't like it. It's change. So what do we do then? We just wait until someone dies, and then we're like, ooh, maybe we should have made a change sooner. Like, we brought up 2 high-profile examples of Jason Herzog. There's the Anthony Smith example. What else? There's the Tony Ferguson example. Like, how many of these, like, forget about a death, right? Because this probably will lead to a death. Maybe not in the cage, maybe years down the road. For sure, it's going to lead to shortening of life.
I have to say, here's the problem. We literally had a category with comeback of the year. There's your issue.
That's not the issue, Mike. Because there are certain like, you can still have comebacks without having someone come back from the brink of death. You know, like. You can still have the comeback I mentioned.
We're celebrating. Sorry, go ahead.
No, the comeback I mentioned, Al Hassan versus Yusuf Zalal, versus Zalal. Zalal wasn't. You don't have to be on the brink of death for it to be a good comeback. Like, I know it's fighting, for God's sakes, but can we have some humanity, some compassion? Can we not?
Well, I see it almost like 2 ways, and I guess to Michael's point, before the arguments against referees was that they were stopping fights too soon, and now it's almost like the goalpost is moved, and the issue is like they're stopping it too late. What I see a lot of the time in fights is referees second guessing when they should call the fight.
Second guessing, like Herb Dean with his hands on his hips, just sitting there staring at Jose Aldo as he dies.
Yeah, no, for real. You can almost imagine what's going on in his head. He's probably like, I could call this fight right now, but it's Jose Aldo. But if I do, blah, blah, blah. If I don't, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can almost
Hey, I wonder what's for dinner tonight.
Man, I'm not going to let you do that. Refereeing is a hard job regardless of the profession. And just quickly we've talked about this, so we don't. Yeah, more referees is not going to fix anything. All you're going to get is 2 opinions.
How is a second pair of eyes?
Look in soccer. We have right? a referee. Start going.
No, I just think
it's not the solution, but it's a solution. It's a solution, and it needs there needs to be a multidimensional solution. And I'm sorry, I'm tired of hearing refereeing is a hard job, because you need to have it's a hard job, but it's a job that you can do correctly. I'm tired of seeing incompetence and people just saying, "Oh, it's a hard job." If a surgeon kills someone on the table due to incompetence, we don't just say, "Well, being surgeon is a hard job."
Yeah,
get back in there next time and try again.
There isn't like the same history of refereeing in MMA as there is medical history of correct surgery practices.
You're missing the point completely. No, an analogy.
What's your point?
My point is we don't make excuses simply because a profession's hard and let people off. I'm saying we don't do that for surgeons. We don't say, well, if somebody dies on the operating table, we don't say due to negligence. We're not like, oh, well, try again next week. We hit them with a medical malpractice suit. Like, there needs to be some stricter consequences for messing up and giving fighters brain trauma.
Standardization in surgery. There is standardization in medicine. There is no standardization in MMA. Remember a while back we talked about Alistair Overeem's comeback over Walt Harris, and how Alistair Overeem took 17 unanswered shots and ended up winning the fight, right? And we all loved it. Meanwhile, Dominic Cruz gets his fight stopped. Huh?
Speak for yourself. I didn't love it. I think
but all I'm trying to say
is less I see Stefano's point, and the crazy part is I actually agree with Stefano. I just disagree with more referees because I don't.
You just want to sit on your hands and not have a solution. I
just think there's other ways. I might not have the experience.
I think simply put, you take 5 unanswered shots, fight done.
David,
simply put,
let me put it
this way. Other combat sports have multiple referees. You go to a BJJ tournament or a judo tournament, and you have 3 referees. You have 2 officials on either side of the mat and 1 referee standing up in the middle of the fight. The 2 officials on the side are there for other opinions. If there's a dispute, line calls, they're there as a second set of eyes. That's it.
I'll take a second set of eyes. I'm not taking a referee outside the cage who has the power to call the fight. Personally.
I didn't say that they necessarily had the power to call the fight, but
no, you're right.
Anyways, let's move on because Mike's right. We haven't had this discussion before, and we're not up against it, but getting to that point. So, next we have we did feel good moment of the year, disappointment of the year, fighter to watch in 2021. Now, I'd like to add a caveat to this one because I don't want you guys coming out and saying Adesanya, right, or anything like that, or Stipe, because obviously they're going to be fighters to watch. They're excellent fighters, but let's make it interesting. Let's do fighter to watch that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily expect is a fighter to watch. Someone that you think is being underrated right now, talent-wise, that you think will be a breakthrough fighter in 2021. Kind of like a Davison Figueiredo, where you're like, if you were to call that in 2019, people would have been like, wow, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'll accept Kamzat if you want, but gentlemen.
I'd throw Kevin Holland in there. Personally, not really necessarily. I mean, that's such a tired take, but yeah, the run he's on, I think it's going to take something special to stop him, truthfully. I'd have to go with Kevin Holland. I'm trying to look at who else.
You know what? We could do this. We could do this division by division because I think that would be interesting. Okay. And we could kind of not come to a. Unplug my mic. Hold on.
It's crazy. I can still hear you.
Yeah. I unplugged my headphones. Not come to a consensus, but even just bring up some interesting fighters to watch. Do you want to start bottom to top or top to bottom?
Bottoms up.
Bottoms up. All right. Women's 115 then.
Wow. Sexist. Sorry, go on.
Wait, what?
I'm just joking, man. Just go on.
Okay, all right. So
are you trying to say women are inferior than men? Below men?
They often are on the bottom. They often are on the bottom, but I'm not talking about social status. So, fighters to watch at women's 115 coming up. This is an interesting one. I'm drawing a blank here as far as Mike. You want to lead? You want to lead the charge here?
115 coming up. There is a woman by the name of Carla Esparza, and that's a little off the board. I'm not gonna lie, and she has taken some big losses in the past, but she's all of a sudden figured it out, and don't look now, she's on a bit of a winning streak. But if we had to say my for real pick, it would be Amanda Hebas. Amanda Hebas is my real pick. I think she's going to be the one to watch. She just needs a big win, but when she gets that big win, she's off to the races.
Interesting. I'm going to go with Mckenzie Dern. I think that her striking looked abominable in her last fight. It was ugly. Her wrestling's never anything to write home about, but she's one slip on a banana peel away from beating anybody in the world. So I think if she can fight more disciplined fights and stick to the few tools that Jason Perillo is giving her, it could be very, very interesting for Mckenzie Dern coming into 2021.
Yeah, it's so crazy how her fights are hinged on the fact that if a girl makes a mistake and falls or slips, it's over for them.
Her jiu-jitsu's a nuke in her back pocket, quite frankly. David, anyone at 115 we haven't mentioned?
I will go with there's no Andrea Lee, I guess, that's a terrible.
She's not even 115. She's 125.
I'm in the wrong list here. No, I got nothing. I got nothing.
So women's 125. Now, largely a division that Valentina has cleaned up and largely a division created based on her. But do you see any interesting contenders in 125? I really don't. No one really.
I can see Jessica Andrade. I can see it. She's got power. So if she hits Valentina right, you never know, right?
She's a wild card, but to be honest, with Valentina's command of range and her ability to fight off the back foot, I just, she could get lucky. I don't see her as a very live dog.
Yeah, I don't see it either, but I'm just saying it could. I mean, besides that, I don't. Jennifer Maia did relatively okay. It was pretty much all Valentina after the second round, but she did relatively okay.
It was surprising. She had her moments. It was still a fight that I think was Valentina's thoroughly. Yeah. And she wasn't at risk of being finished at any point. But Maia had success in some pockets. David, you got anything about 25?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'll even put in my 115. My two picks are going to be...
After doing
my research, why not? Are going to be Stamp and Wonder Girl Fairtex. Just because, shouts out to the Fairtex twins. That's it.
They also were friends of the show, so why not?
That's literally the only reason. So watch out for them. I'll be watching all of their fights. But in terms of
likes
UFC,
Naruto. So if you like Naruto, you're a friend of mine. That's it. There it is.
You got a friend in me.
In terms of the UFC, there's actually there's no one. I think both like Weili Zhang, Triple J, and
Joanna Janjajic.
and Shevchenko have those divisions unlocked. So
what about Thug Rose? I mean, she's not a breakout fighter, but
that's why I think Thug Rose would be a pretty obvious choice. Yeah. We're talking more like sneaky pick.
Lucky Lauren Murphy is coming off a 4-fight win streak.
No, David, no. Okay, so moving. I can't believe you just said that. So, do you want to do, I guess, women's 130? We'll finish the women's division. Women's 135. I don't see anything. Women's 145. What is that? I don't know.
Wait. We do have a 145. Clarissa Shields.
Yeah. I guess in no, would she be 145 or 135? Because I think they're trying to set up a matchup between her and Kayla Harrison. Yeah, you're right. That would be a very Clarissa Shields an interesting one to watch outside of the UFC.
Yeah, I want to see her development, and if she eventually gets that Nunes fight, that would be kind of interesting to watch, I guess.
Her kicks look atrocious. I saw her on the pads, but like, who cares?
She can like a new video where her kicks look semi-decent, actually.
Yeah, man. I mean, she's a world-class athlete, and I'm sure she's making improvements every day. And yeah, man, I'd love to see her and Kayla Harrison go at it. But if for those of you that aren't aware, Clarissa Shields, one of the greatest women to ever lace up gloves in the boxing ring, stepping over to MMA.
Yeah. Judy too. So.
What?
So.
I'm messing around. That the point where.
What do you got?
Okay, so I guess we should go down to men's 125. Sneaky fighter who could make an entrance into the year. Make an entrance into the rankings. Mikey.
I got Brandon Royval. I really do, and I know he didn't look good against Moreno, but Royval can really impressed me. He's a very, I wouldn't say awkward, but he's got some interesting tricks. He's a very tricky guy in both facets of the game in terms of his grappling and his striking. So I think if he can just clean up the fundamentals, and he's still young too. Why not with Brandon Royval? Why not? Other than that, I think Askar Askarov is probably the more likely guy. But the thing about Askar Askarov is he has a style that is relatively boring. So, unfortunately, even if he does kind of break out, no one's really going to be watching for him like that, like they would Brandon Royval.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go with two fighters who are actually fighting at the end of the year on the Risen card. And I'm going to go with Kyoji. And Kai Asakura, because I think these two are fireworks, and I think either of them, if they make it to the UFC, I think either of them beat what's his name? Davison Figueiredo. I think they're. What's that?
Manel Kape. Why not?
Manel Kape, is he? Oh yeah, he's going back down to 25. Yeah, he's an interesting addition to the UFC. Fighting Alejandro Pantoja, Manel Kape is a wild man, and he showed some skills. Was able to knock out Kayak Sakura in his last fight. So Manel Kape's an interesting addition to that division as well. I'm excited for him. Think crazy horse, but kind of technical actually.
So yeah,
he has some names on his record as well. He beat Ian McCall.
Oh yeah, he did. He beat Uncle Creepy. So he's got. The only thing with Manel Kape though is that like just like Figueiredo, you wonder about the technical aspect, and he doesn't have nearly the cardio that Figueiredo showed.
Watch that fight against Kai Asakura, because he was, timing Asakura on the entry. I think ended up hitting him with a left hook on the way in he looked good. He's made some improvements to his game. I'm a Manel Kape fan. Men's 135. We'll throw it to you, David.
Okay. Yeah, I had nothing to say about the 125 division, so thank you for just giving me on that one. 135, it has to be Aljamain Sterling. I mean, he has to get the next title shot, right?
Hold on though. This is for sneaky. Like, who do you think
sneaky?
could? Because we all know Aljo is Aljo's the man. We all know.
Okay,
that.
I'll go with. I mean, I'm just looking at the rankings right now. Past number 10, number 11, you have Merab Dvalishvili. I don't know.
That's an interesting pick.
He's a good fighter, and he has like the record for takedowns in the division or in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if I've seen enough there to like get me super excited. Casey Kenny also is an exciting pick, I guess. So yeah, I was kind of excited about Chito Vera up until his last fight. So yeah, I guess I'll just choose Cody Garbrandt. That's a weird random one. Yeah,
he's going down to 25 though.
Pardon?
Oh no! Apparently, Abdulaziz has said that he doesn't mind him staying at 35. He doesn't mind.
Okay.
News to me. All right. Well, I like Cody Garbrandt. I thought he was coming off some pretty bad losses, and his knockout was pretty decent. So yeah, pay attention to it to him because I'm pretty sure he's going to get a title shot next year.
Cool, Mikey.
So I was thinking about it, and there's something about Sean O'Malley I can't shake. I know that sounds weird, but I think if he can, I think he has tools to be good. I really do, and I think that his fight against Chito Vera, while of course he did lose, and he did lose. If he can just kind of get past that, learn, and every once in a while check a kick, why not, right? Why not? So for me, I'm gonna say Sean O'Malley bounces back and has a good 2021.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna go with Luis Smolka. I think he had an excellent performance in his last fight. I'm trying to remember who it was against. Against a well-regarded fighter. But I think Luis Smolka has the tools to put it together. He's long for the division, has decent boxing. His jiu-jitsu is always dangerous. So I think Luis Smolka, if he puts it together in 2021, could be a sneaky contender for the throne. What is he ranked at? Oh, yeah, beat Quinones in his last fight. That was a great performance.
The problem with Smolka is he's just never seemed to have the durability to last in a fight. Like he's always catching some sort of punch. But I that was when he was at. But I think with Smolka though, he's again long, tall, and he seems to have been rejuvenated in terms of the footwork aspect too.
Interesting. Okay, moving on to 145. We'll lead with you, Mike.
I think at 45, it'd be silly if we're not going to say Josh Emmett. I know he had a recent injury, but I think it'd be silly to say Josh Emmett's not the breakout guy. This guy put it on Shane Burgos. He's a couple wins away. I can see if he beats, like, let's say a Dan Ige, and let's say he beats the loser of Cater versus Dan Ige and Korean Zombie. Let's say he beats those two, he's right there. And those are very winnable fights for him. So I think Josh Emmett's the guy.
For me, it has to be Ortega. Personally, man, his last performance was so good. It kind of...
Dude, you can't... David, I think you don't understand the purpose of this exercise. He's getting the next shot at the title.
Wait, how is Josh Emmett low-key and Brian Ortega is not low-key?
Because Brian Ortega's next in line in the title. You can't be like, I called it. Brian Ortega's going to win the title. Like, he's up,
okay. All right, okay. Let me go Sadiq Yusuf.
God damn it! Why do you have to steal mine?
He's on a winning streak. What is this? 5 fight win streak. Nigerian striker. Good. Yeah, I like him.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to go with my boy and a Canadian, nonetheless. I'm going to go with Hakeem Dawood.
I was going to do that.
I was like, which one is he in? But yeah, he looks good too.
Me and Hakeem has not lost in a while, and he's shown that he's able to fight a very disciplined fight. I like his counter kicking game. He beat Agbaire Tukov in his last fight, which was impressive. Yeah, man, he's shown that he can fight a very smart game and minimize the damage coming at him.
He's a
fights excellently on the counter. I look forward to seeing him in 2021.
He has a fight coming up against Shane Burgos. That's gonna be a banger.
Banger.
That's a toughie, though. That is a toughie.
That's counter boxing against counter kicking. That's going to be a very interesting game.
Also in that division is Gavin Tucker.
I'm sorry, I take it all back. Gavin Tucker, future champion of the UFC. You guys can take Hakeem.
What about Giga Chikadze? No, all right.
Oh man, come on! I forgot about how deep the division is.
So many good guys, but. The thing about Hakeem Dawodu, though, is that do you guys feel like he's a little small for the division? No?
He is small, and I feel like, I don't know, I understand, striking is his thing. I just wish he wouldn't get hit so much, if that makes any sense. I feel like, I don't know, he gets into these striking exchanges when I feel like it should be a little bit more one-note, almost in an Adesanya way. Maybe that's just a Nigerian thing, but if he has so much more striking experience than some of these guys, then I would.
But I was watching some of his fights, and the times where he gets hit, supposedly he's not getting hit the full way because he leans his head just out of the way when he kicks, just out, and maybe it's just one of those things that work for him, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So moving up to 55, I know one of you guys are going to say Fiziev. Who is it?
It's me.
Well, my pick is Poirier, so.
He's fighting McGregor.
He's messing with you.
All right, Mike, start off. Let's get this troll out. Troll in the dungeon. Troll. Okay, Mike, tell us about wax lyrical about Fiziev.
No, I just really like how he's adapted fundamental old school Muay Thai into MMA. I'd like to see what his takedown defense is like against the best. Because we haven't really seen it, but. He's also a really good, he's a good counter striker, but not in the way that you typically see where he'll generate swing and miss and then hit you with a 3-piece or something. He's really good at kind of just beating you to the punch, almost like a Valentina Shevchenko way, where you want to throw something, but then she notices that you're gonna, and then boom, she hits you with a straight. Mm-hmm. Fiziev's the same way, but he's with it with the switch kick. So
he's all about counter combinations and finishing last in exchanges, and I love it.
So,
and we just saw panic wrestling shots from 10 feet away in the Moicano fight, which I was a bit disappointed at. But man, I'm convinced that he can beat anyone in the feet in the division.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen. I was gonna say we haven't seen a lot of him, but he has fought Moicano and Giachize, who are both pretty decent strikers. As Michael says, it's going to be up to how good is his wrestling defense, because most guys are going to want to take him down and are not going to want to strike with him. So we'll see.
Who's your 55 guy, David?
Honestly, I'm looking through the list, and I'm stuck between Brad Riddell, just because I think he's super duper underrated. His record is looking really nice, not lost since 2018. He hasn't really fought any big names yet, so maybe that's why he's ranked so low. Because I'm looking at the rankings right now, and I see, what's his name? Beneil Dariush ranked above him, which is hilarious to me. But I'm going to go with Beneil because he's on a little bit of a win streak, and why not? There's no rules to this. So, yeah, I'll go with Beneil. Beneil Dariush.
That's Beneil Dariush is a solid pick as well. Yeah, man. People forget that he's a world champion black belt on the ground. But I'm going to have to go with someone that I'm surprised nobody is talking about. Literally nobody's talking about this guy. He's a switch hitter. He's managed to put together a very good striking game based off of jab cross, switch stances, and then from there throwing, he'll either throw the body kick or a lead hook depending on which way that you circle. All of his game revolves around pressure, getting you to the fence, and eventually securing that takedown. And when he gets to the ground, man, this guy is, as we saw in the Anthony Pettis fight, can submit just about anyone. Diego Ferreira, he hasn't lost since.
Oh, that's good.
he hasn't lost in like years. The man, he was supposed to fight Islam Makhachev, which I thought would have been a great fight, but fell out. I'm excited to see what he can do in this division, and he's evidence of what you can do with pressure fighting and a few tools on the feet when it's backed up by world-class grappling. So able to submit Anthony Pettis from the back, which is even in the advanced stages of his career, Anthony Pettis is still one of the best at escaping back position in the world. So I'm excited to see what happens with him going forward.
But is he not a little high on the division though? No, he's like, what is he, 7? Number 7?
Yeah, when you haven't lost in that long.
Okay.
Let's see.
70. And why is it Santiago Ponzinibbio? I will not accept anybody else. Let's go. It's Santiago Ponzinibbio. Come on. I think it's silly to say it's not. This guy, I think if health is not a factor.
If fear is not a factor, Joe Rogan.
But yeah, if health is not a factor, why not Santiago Ponzinibbio? Why not?
Because he probably can't wrestle.
No, he's got the BJJ. He's got the BJJ. He can wrestle. I mean, he out-wrestled Neil Magny, for goodness sake. So he's got the tools. I wonder about his cardio, especially since health has not been the best and what he's going to be like when he comes back. But explosive power, opening people up on jabs at 170, which is unheard of. And yeah, so I think this guy's got it. But it's just it's a matter of health. If he's healthy, he's going to be good.
Yeah, 170 for me is not as steep as a lot of the other divisions. I'm just looking through the rankings right now, and Damian Maia is still in the top 10. And so is Tyron Woodley, but who was champion, to be fair. But I would go with either Leon Edwards or Muslim Salikov.
Ooh.
Oh, Muslim Salikov's a good one.
The king of Sanda.
Yeah.
Excellent fighter. So I'm going to have to go with future UFC Hall of Famer Mike Perry. Nah, I'm kidding.
I thought you were about to say Mike Asiffo. Like, what?
Mike Asiffo at 170. We will capture the title for Ghana.
I could make 170 if my life depended on it. Are you kidding? I'd have to cut off an arm.
Well, you better get to it then.
Yeah, really. Like, I don't know how to break it to you, Michael.
So,
225 pounds. Are you kidding?
170. You guys are going to call this a cop-out because he's bigger, kind of a bigger name. But I do not hear a single person mentioning him in terms of title contention. And I think he is going to be the man, if he's given a shot at it, to beat Kamaru Usman. And that's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Now, I thought we were going to see Leon Edwards.
No, I think we've seen how that. I love Leon Edwards, but I think we've seen how that fight plays out because they fought. Now Leon Edwards has
wrestle.
Brits can't wrestle. Brits can't wrestle. Okay, but seriously, I think that Wonderboy Thompson has the style to give absolute fits to Kamaru Usman. And I think Kamaru, while he hits hard, he's an excellent wrestler, and he punishes you up against the cage. I don't think his cage cutting skills are going to be sufficient to hurt Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And that's not a knock against him. I don't think anybody's cage cutting skills are sufficient to beat Wonderboy Thompson in such a way. It's an exciting prospect seeing Wonderboy again in title contention at 170, and I think he could get there like that with the right matchups.
I love that matchup, and I actually love that analysis because I actually agree. I don't think Usman's cage cutting is the best in terms of like he kind of just follows a little bit, but I do think if I was Stephen Thompson, I would, as Michael likes to say, get my wrestling singlet ready, and honestly, just get on the Aerodyne bike now because you're going to be running a lot. Usman's going to be chasing you. I would love to see that matchup.
So 185, my gents. What are we thinking about this division currently ruled over by the king named Azriel Adesanya?
Azriel?
Azriel.
Is this a Tekken character or something? Like, what's going
on? Let's see. Who is going to come up there?
David's literally just scrolling through names.
I'm literally just scrolling through like the rankings.
All right,
I heard he's good.
Who do I know?
Heavyweight.
Let me start. I got one. Marvin Vettori, guys.
A man after my heart. Speaking about it, Italian.
Listen, this guy was awkward as hell. Didn't have really many tools on the feet, but for whatever reason was able to give Israel Adesanya a lot of problems in their first fight. Now, I still think Israel Adesanya won that fight pretty comfortably, and that split decision was a sham. It should have been a UD, but he showed some things, and now he's a much more improved fighter. And I'm not saying he's going to be able to outstrike Israel Adesanya. No one is. Calvin Gastelum fought the fight of his life, but what I will say though is he can present some issues, and because of that, why not Marvin Vettori? Why not?
Because just no. I don't want to see that. And can you believe he's ranked number 4? And you know what? I'm looking at this Tapology.
You remember who he just beat? Jack Hermanson?
He beat Jack Hermanson, who was ranked
Hack Germanson.
He beat Jack Hermanson, so therefore he's 4.
What? All right, it's fine. Just a really quick rant on the rankings. Hamzat is 33. Jacare is 31. These are just really random. Carl Roberson
is like 20, but he beat Mearshart, and yet he's at 33.
Mearshart is 25. Roberson's 28. Make it make sense. Anyway, let me pick my 2 favorite. I'm gonna go or one to watch. Uriah Hall, a little bit of a resurgence. Shouts out to him. Beat Anderson Silva. And Edmund Shabazian, coming off a loss. But, from what I watched in 2019, I actually liked him as a fighter. So, kind of sucked that he lost against Derek Brunson. But there's a fighter.
He needs to move camps. He needs to move a camp.
Yeah.
He cannot win with Glendale. I'm sorry. Sorry. He cannot. Edmund Shabazian cannot. I'm going to say it on this podcast. And I don't care who comes after me. I don't care who talks to me on Twitter or Instagram. He cannot win when he's with Glendale. Cannot. There it is. Done.
So I'm going to, for 185, I'm going to go obscure, and I'm going to go Rodolfo Vieira. If you don't know who Rodolfo Vieira is, on the jiu-jitsu circuit, he was one of the best pressure passers that there is. In MMA, he's a bit of a throwback. He's interesting. He's not too good on the feet, but man, he can shoot a double leg. The man has like the DNA of an ox somewhere in him. Like, he's explosive as hell. He gets you on your back, and his ground and pound nothing.
Huh?
He's white. He's a white Hispanic.
I'm joking.
Listen. So, no, he's a bit of a throwback in that on top. When he beat Krzysztof Jotko, he wasn't all about the big strikes, but he'll get the submission on you. He'll lock up an arm triangle. He'll lock up some kind of, pressure submission from the top. And do I think he can win a title at 185? Absolutely not. Do I think he's going to be a more talked about fighter in 2021? Possibly breaking into the top 10, maybe top 5? Yeah, why not? And this brings us back to 205. I'm going to lead with this one before one of you steal my idea. Yuri Prohotska.
Damn it!
Some love to Yuri Prohotska, please. This man came in and his UFC debut. He was weird. He was taunting. His hands were down. He was throwing just an ugly right straight over and over again. Eventually found his mark and knocked out Volkan Oezdemir, who's been a staple in the division.
Weird Dragon Ball Goku style stats where he's like this.
It's bizarre. I love it, and I love anyone that comes from Rizin in Japan because I'm an absolute sucker for pride. So
you're a weeb, that's what it is.
Exactly, and you know what? I'm an MMA weeb, and I can't remember the last time I was excited for a contender at 205. Yuri Prohotska, champion 2021. I think he might be.
Do you know who is fighting next?
Me and you.
No, he's fighting Dominic Reyes.
Prohotska versus Reyes. Interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting matchup. And definitely a title eliminator. I'll just make my pick quick, just because I don't really have a take on him. Johnny Walker, simple. When he is motivated and fighting to the best of his abilities, he's the best fighter in the division.
Hey, Mike, should we do it? He can't wrestle. He can't wrestle.
I mean,
when you're getting ground out by Nikita Krylov, there's a problem. No disrespect to my Ukrainian comrade, but comrade is a karate man, not wrestler. Okay, so we don't look for double leg, we look for high kick. Okay, but if we look for double leg, we know there's a big problem. Okay, this is Soviet Union here, double legs for all. So, Mike. 205, anyone you want to mention now that I stole your pick?
Geez. Okay. So off the board here, but why? I know technically speaking he is like highly ranked, but no one has been talking about Glover Teixeira.
That's this not true. Everyone's talking about Glover. G. Lover.
No, for whatever reason, I'm not hearing his name. Everyone's talking about Reyes. Everyone's talking about Prohotska. Everyone's talking about different guys. No one's talking about Glover Teixeira. But, it is what it is there. But in terms of actually, the gentleman who beat Jamal Hill, the gentleman who beat Ovince St. Peru, there are some fundamental flaws with him. But, again, this is what happens. I've said it. There's a right way to get a pure athlete into MMA, and he's a pure athlete. He's fast, right? He's got great reflexes, strong, and he's got stage presence. He's just got a mind for the spectacular. So Jamal Hill is my guy to watch out for.
Jamal Hill is an interesting pick. He keeps his chin high in the air. He looks very hittable, but man, he's got some. His fundamentals are a little off, but he's got some theory there behind it. So yeah, he could be interesting in a division
and a great
like 205.
Great athlete.
There's some fighters that are interesting because of the flaws in their game, how they're able to work them in as a piece to a greater whole. I didn't think he'd beat OSP. I really didn't, and he starched him. Now heavyweight. Should we just all jerk off Cyril Gane for like an hour?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, this is definitely the Cyril Gane jerk off session. Circle.
You guys, I'll let you guys jerk off Cyril Gane. I want to bring attention to someone else because everyone knows this is the Cyril Gane appreciation hour. But please continue. Tell me about how he's going to be champion in 2020.
Hilarious. I'll let Michael do that.
Look. I think the problem is it's fighter to watch, not fighter who's already there. And I think he's already there.
Do you think so? After that performance against Junior,
who's he fought?
He beat JDS. What are we talking about?
Okay, and
listen, if your name isn't Ngannou or Stipe, you're losing to Cyril Gane. There it is. I'm sorry. Okay,
and he could even I think he could even beat either of those chaps. I think he could beat Ngannou. I really do.
I think it's competitive.
But they're training partners. That's the problem. Yeah, they're training partners. I think the way in which he beat JDS was so impressive because the general consensus on how to beat JDS was, listen, this man, when he's on the back foot, he runs himself onto the cage. And then from there, you beat him up. Cain Velasquez did it. Stipe did it. And, we were expecting that maybe Cyril Gane would do it. But what Cyril did was just stay right on the end of his reach. Just out at the end of his reach, fought a disciplined fight, kicked his leg, and beat Junior technically, and then just finished him with that spear jab from southpaw stance and those elbows. That was nasty. He beat Junior in a way that not a lot of people beat Junior.
So my pick for this one is going to be Curtis Blades. Please give that man a fight, man. Just give him the title shot. He deserves it. That doesn't count. How does that not count?
He's an established contender in the division. Everyone knows Bertus Clades.
Hilarious. Shout out to Curtis Blades, man. Like, you're getting disrespected in that division, and he deserves a title shot. Yeah.
My pick is going to be a bit of an obscure one for heavyweight. Now, I wasn't high on this guy at first. My buddy Max is like, look, I got some money on this guy, right? He's a heavyweight. He's fighting on the undercard. I watched some of his fights outside of the UFC. To be honest, I wasn't particularly impressed. I'm like, Mike, you're frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
For a while, I was kind of...
His striking's a bit non-existent. He makes some odd choices, as a lot of Russian grapplers tend to do. I don't know. I'm not too sold on this guy. And then I watched him fight in the UFC. I'm like, holy crap, this guy is a lot of fun. He does weird things in grappling that you don't see. Hits high amplitude takedowns. choked somebody out with a straight up forearm from side control, just pressing his forearm straight down onto their throat. Alexander Romanov. Not only is he a descendant of the Romanov dynasty, which, I mean...
Wait, is that true?
To outlive the Soviet Union? No, I don't.
No, I was like, what?
No,
He's not even Russian.
But Alexander Romanov was the name of the hemophiliac son of. So to be a hemophiliac fighting in the UFC and outliving the Soviet Union, I mean, come on, what can't those guys defeat? But no, to be honest, this guy's striking's atrocious, and it's largely just like, I'm going to throw some big strikes to get into a clinch with you, and once I'm in that clinch with you, I'm going to slam you on your head and look for weird submissions. And his ground and pound's hilarious. Like, this guy is landing like Donkey Kong hammer fists from like above his head, double hammer fists at the same time. He's slapping the ears, and he hits ridiculously hard. Like I said, that forearm choke from side control, literally just like pressing his forearm down on the other guy's neck. And it's not like it was a pain tap or anything, because the guy went to sleep. He put someone to sleep with that. Will he be champion? No. Am I excited to see how far his weird style can carry him at heavyweight? Yes. So he's my pick for fighter to watch in 2021.
Toss him in with Alexander Olenek. Let's watch it. Let's go.
I would empty my bank account to see that.
Empty your ball sack for that. Okay, go on.
I would empty my ball sack to that. A couple of hairy Russian dudes suplexing each other looking for Ezekiel jokes.
God.
Oh, that's
you
what
just put like an R rating on the side, like while the fight's going on. Jeez. All right,
so,
Michael, what's your pick?
Didn't Mike already pick?
Right?
Yeah.
All right, no more picks. No more.
I got another one. Why? I got lots of guys. You know.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, for real.
So listen. Anything else we need to cover? Or is that the end of our 2020
it's been a great year. I think we can wrap it up here.
Guys, I just want to say it's been a pleasure doing this with you guys, and I raise my empty glass. Here's to 2021.
Yeah, mine now.
May we at the Leg Kick conquer 2021. We hope to keep entertaining and informing you. Help us do it. Steal from your grandmother. Steal her pills. Steal money from her purse. Send them to us so we can keep doing this show. Keep putting out good content. Keep helping you to understand mixed martial arts on a deeper and more intellectual level. So, guys, any parting thoughts? Parting shots?
Yeah, so for those of you...
Children, what is this?
Oh, wait, no threatening children. We're past
I got to threaten the children in 2020 Okay.
We can also
you got anything
to
say? This is Jeremy's take. I got to do Jeremy's take, too. Jeremy's take, thank you for a great year, guys. And, I just want to say that I've been learning to box recently. And, the boxing sessions between Mike and I have gotten a lot closer. And I think I'm getting Mike's number. And he's really beating him up in his bar at the gym. And I just want to say this is for younger brothers everywhere. Younger brothers are actually... Holy shit. Movie knocked into my desk. He's like, I can't.
Like, that's enough. That's racist.
Enough.
So, guys, thank you for what's been a challenging but ultimately very rewarding year, and we look forward to doing this in this new decade to come.
Yeah, like it forever. Let's go.
Man, awesome. You guys have been the best team I could ask for, so thank you.
Oh, jeez. I don't know if that's a compliment, but I'll take
it.
We're not the team you wanted. We're not the team you needed, but we're the team you've got. So you know what?
You're
stuck with us.
What did I say? I think you guys are the best team I could ever ask for.
All right. Okay. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Thanks, everybody.